Okay, here is our overview of the ChatGPT platform. Just another quick note, this is a paid version, um, but here is the typical interface that right when you get in, this is what your initial chat interface would look like. This plus button has a lot of drop-down options where you can add photos and files. Chat even pulls out some of the recent files that are on whatever workspace that you're working in. This one in particular is a business account where you can add company knowledge. I imagine most of you won't have that. Here is the button if you want to specifically create images, although you don't have to turn that on. But if you do it this way, you get all of these options of what aspect ratio do you want it in squares and portraits and stories. So if you're doing a lot of social media content, each of those platforms have very specific images or image aspect ratios that they really prefer. And you can even change the styles. Do you want anime style, a coloring book, 80s glam? You can kind of choose. And these aren't the only ones. These are just the ones by default, and you can ask for them directly. In addition to that, we have deep research. Every function, or sorry, every large language model has their own version of deep research, which is meant to mimic kind of an academic search of various things. You can give it specific sites to manage. You can manage those sites. So if you only want it to search within very specific parameters, you can specify those parameters. But otherwise, you would just have the typical search the web. It's going to go out and do its thing. I'm going to show you an example of that. I don't think I did this in chat, so never mind. Actually, yes, I did. Here is a great example of the deep research function. I was looking for different capstone ideas for our professional issues in dietetics course. This is our senior capstone project, but it took 36 minutes. It searched 281 sites and ended up citing 30 or 32 of them. You can see this is the entire report that it generated. I won't spend time reading it all, but I want to show you the length of it and what kinds of things it gave me. It told me the school, the course, what was the capstone model, is the assessment method visible in public, what were the scaffolded steps. It gave me all of this. It created little diagrams for me. So if you're in an MSN accredited program and you're trying to figure out what other people are doing and they don't respond to your end-up listserv requests, then you can kind of search it here. So for this particular project, I was asking it for, well, now based off of this information, I need a 6-week iteration of this, an 8-week iteration of this, and a 10-week iteration of this. And so you can see it gave me all of this. It took 36 minutes, but look at the level and depth of content that this report gave me. And I went on just to give it a little bit more. I kept it in research mode. It went for about 8 minutes just to give me a little bit more information. That is a great example of the deep research function. You can also turn on and off web search, where if you're just looking for something in particular, it'll even kind of give you like what are some of the trending things happening right now. There is agent mode. Most of you probably won't be playing with this because this is kind of agent mode maybe isn't so much for academic work, but we can probably have this as more of an advanced session where if you have a lot of your files kind of set up, if you watch the Claude overview, this agent platform is very similar to Cohort, where it can actually go in your files, create, add, delete, edit things. But I would imagine for most of our education purposes, that is going to be considered a risky use case. And then that is, oh, sorry, one more thing. You have another drop down over here. There's a large configure. You can choose the model that is used. Most of you will probably never have a reason to change this. And you will have at least two options. If you have a paid account, you'll also get the Pro. But with the free account, you'll have an instant and a thinking. There's really no reason to do instant. Thinking is just fine. The usage limits in ChatGPT are very hard to reach. So there's not really any worrying about, am I going to run out of usage, at least with a Pro account. And I've never turned off extended thinking effort. Some other things to kind of look at is In your library, you can see every single file, every single image that you have kind of ever made here in your chat history. You can kind of look at all the things that you have attached, the things that it has created. So if you ever figured out where a file needed to go, you can find it in your library section. Under this apps, this is the equivalent to connectors in Claude, where there are many different companies who have agreements with ChatGPT that you can connect them. We'll kind of skip over agents. Let's go to GPTs. With a free account, I don't believe you can make GPTs, but you can still access them. When we get to building chatbots, I'll give you some more in-depth kind of content into how we can make these and how we can edit them and add source knowledge. This is where we're going to find the custom GPT section. And you can even search for some to see what other people have made, um, if you care to go look. Probably if there's something that you need, someone else has maybe already made an equivalent version of it. Next will be projects. Projects is the same kind of projects that you're going to see in Claude. You can create projects. You can add chats specifically to these projects, and it can kind of be their own little mini working spaces. This isn't as in depth as Claude's projects, but you can still group your chats together. You can have shared source knowledge. This is the way that I prefer to work with particular things. There's my AI class, some other project documentation, a few other things. I was working on an in-depth presentation from a couple years ago. I have everything kind of collected in here. And then if you ever were working on a one-off and you wanted to include it, you can kind of drag and drop them into the platform. The other thing that we didn't cover is a codex. You can't access codex directly from the web browser. You have to download it separately. If you ever care to kind of get into the coding or the vibe coding components, that might be something worth having for our extra week 10 session. Some other things worth looking at. I'll just give an example here. I was just asking it quickly. I want to do a platform overview for a group of dietetic educators. It gave me a bunch of stuff. It actually wasn't very helpful. But the thing I want to show you is that you can share chats with other people. You can move them to specific projects. You can pin them to higher up on your recents list, or you can archive them. Or the difference between archive and delete is that delete actually makes it go away, and the archive just kind of removes it from your list, but can still be accessed via the search chats. The last thing we'll show you here, I need to edit that out. Personalization. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. Sorry, that was unique to a business account. You can choose light or dark or system. I'm a big dark background fan. You can choose what kind of contrast you have. You can choose your accent color. I choose green. You can enable dictation. You can choose the kind of voice you want. Notifications. You can choose to have push notifications go to an email or to a phone. So for example, with deep research, especially if you're doing some kind of high level work, it's going to take 20 or 30 minutes. So you can just send a push notification and it'll send you a notification on your phone that it's ready to go. For personalization, you can choose what kind of tone you want. And I haven't really messed with this in particular because I like to give that kind of instructions in the specific chat that I'm working in. But you can mess with this. Do you want it less warm, more enthusiastic? Do you want more headings or less? Do you want less emojis? These are just the settings that I chose. And then if you have any specific custom instructions, again, I save that for projects. And then just all the other things about you. Do you want to see the memories? This is where you're going to see the memory function. In the advanced, it's just, do you want these specific things connected? For schedules, this is the same kind of task list that I showed you in Cowork. If you saw the Claude session, you can set up repetitive tasks that can be done on a daily or a weekly basis. The other things to consider, what does the storage look like for your particular account? Do you want to turn off data training? Most of you are going to want to turn this off. You can get a list of all your archive chats, all your shared chats. You can see all of these things. Security, do you want two-factor authentication through text message or through the authenticator? And then as you start building GPTs, do you want like your own GPT profile? A long time ago, they tried to monetize this, and it didn't go very well, but they still kept this feature here. And then if you wanted to have any specific keyboard navigation options, those are all there for you. But that's the quick overview of the ChatGPT platform. Um, we'll move on to Gemini next.